you know what? I was waiting to see what this person was going to say because we know that they had something to say in opposed to this. Shout out to Great Filibuster for becoming a member. I definitely appreciate it. And that is none other than Fatlock. Yeah, Fatlock just had to throw his weight around. And, if God forbid he actually does do that, then we might all be in danger. But he wrote this op-ed piece on The Blaze. Now, I want y'all to keep in mind, The Blaze is where Saltine Queen used to work at. That should tell you all you need to know about this company. But he wrote this op-ed on The Blaze where he said, and we're going to read it. He said, Whitlock, Caitlin Clark is Tiger Woods while Angel Reese is Fuzzy Zoeller. The basketball establishment is reacting to Caitlin Clark much the same way the golf establishment reacted to Tiger Woods 25 years ago. Already, I'm annoyed. Most of the establishment is overjoyed. They see the opportunity, attention, and cash the Iowa basketball star can bring to the women's game. And then there's the contingent of bigots, the people fearful that Clark's ascension will diminish them. Is he trying to say that black people are scared of her? Is he trying to say that black people are somehow in fear of her ascending? And he wonders why whenever I do another bed bucking video on him, he's going to get the infinity symbol. Some people got to get that infinity symbol because you just know they're going to have so many entries. You got to stop counting. You lose count. Him, Fake him, and most likely Stephen A are going to get the infinity symbol the next time I make the thumbnail for them. South Carolina head coach Dawn Staley and LSU center Angel Reese are the leaders of the latter group. They're Fuzzy Zoeller, Tiger Woods triggered Zoeller. Now, shout out to Dawn Staley, by the way. I wanted to mention her. Since he brought it up, shout out to Dawn Staley because she stood up for her players because they tried to come at her players next with some nonsense as well. And Dawn Staley had to check them reporters. So shout out to her. Now, notice this. Dawn Staley and Angel Reese, both black women, and you have this very obtuse, improper fraction built individual by the name of Jason Whitlock, who literally is running in line to defend Caitlin Clark, who probably doesn't even know him from a can of paint, and throws both Dawn Staley and Angel Reese under the bus. The crazy part about it is he compares Caitlin Clark to Tiger Woods, who we know he calls himself Kablasian, but we know there's some black there on his dad's side. Caitlin Clark is lily white on both her parents' side. He literally compared Caitlin Clark to Tiger Woods, a man who isn't fully he's not even fully white because his mother is Asian, to a man who, for all intents and purposes, doesn't have any white in him, to a white girl, to a white woman, while comparing Angel Reese to a white man. Think about that for a second. Like, really think about that for a second. And shout out to AW1 for the super chat. He says, that's Fatlock for you saying stupid stuff. Is Poker Not Pity Pat said Dawn Staley, Angel Reese, and Kim Mulkey are all Tauruses. Nice. Love to hear it. Mike Mellis-John says Tiger Woods has champion caliber status. Caitlin Clark doesn't. Good point. Tiger Woods has won many U.S. Opens. Caitlin Clark, on the other hand, I don't know what trophy she's won. Can someone point on a collegiate level? Can someone point that out to me? What it is they keep bigging her up to try to achieve this status that she has not yet reached herself. But let's continue to see what else he's talking about. He said, "You remember Fuzzy? He won the 1979 Masters and the 1984 U.S. Open. More than those victories, Zoller is remembered for the racist and mean-spirited comments he made toward Tiger Woods during the final round of the 1997 Masters." Now, pay attention to this. Don Staley and Angel Reese did not say anything derogatory to any of the people they were addressing. So for him to try to compare this guy to Angel Reese and Don Staley, there's no comparison. Again, that's a false comparison. He said he's doing quite well, pretty impressive. Zola told reporters that little boy is driving well and he's putting well. He's doing everything it takes to win. So you know what you guys gonna do when he gets in here? You can pat him on the back and say congratulations and enjoy it, and tell him not to serve fried chicken next year. Got it. Now reading that quote, I think I remember this because I think it was fried chicken. I think they said collard greens as well. Because at that time Tiger Woods was going around calling himself Kablasian. It goes on to say Zola snapped his fingers and turned away from reporters. He then turned back to say, or collard greens, there it is, or whatever the hell they serve. Caitlin Clark, a white basketball star dominating a black sport, triggered Staley and Reese. Again, if you close your eyes, you will swear that a white person wrote this. He said Caitlin Clark, a white basketball star dominating a black sport. How did that trigger them? How in the world did that trigger them? Because they checked some people? Anyway, he said Clark's Hawkeyes upset Staley's number one ranked South Carolina team Friday night in the semifinals of the Final Four. Following the game, Staley deflected attention away from her coaching errors and Clark's magnificent performance by complaining that unnamed reporters called South Carolina players thugs and monkeys. Staley framed Iowa coach Lisa Bluter harmless comment about a rebounding bar fight as racist. Well, I applaud Dawn Staley for calling it out, and I'm glad she did. So I'm guessing, good thing he's not a coach, because he would probably tell them to let that slide. He would probably tell them to just let that just float on right on by. I applaud Dawn Staley for checking those reporters for what they said. He would prefer that she didn't even do it. Staley invented a racial narrative out of thin air. Corporate media sold Staley lies and gossip. Y'all, like I said, this is all Jason Whitlock. This is his op-ed piece right here. A white reporter egged Staley on, suggesting that the unsubstantiated criticism of Staley's players was quote-unquote dangerous. LSU players picked up where Staley stopped. The Tigers claimed they were disrespected and upset about the way Iowa defended South Carolina. I'm not joking. The fact that Iowa sagged off South Carolina along the perimeter disrespected LSU. That was offered as part of the justification for stalking. Again, there they go with this word, stalking and taunting. Peep words that they're using. Stalking and taunting Clark at the conclusion of LSU's victory in Sunday's championship game. Barstool Sports' Dave Portnoy and political pundit Keith Olbermann responded to Reese's classless taunting by topping Reese's lack of class. Via Twitter, Portnoy called Reese a piece of, you know what, Olbermann called Reese a effing idiot. And I'm sure Jason just agreed right along with it. Portnoy's and Olbermann's tweets justify ESPN Jalen Rose connecting the criticism of Reese to Staley's post-game whining. How Angel Reese is being vilified by many highlights exactly what Dawn Staley was talking about, Rose tweeted. And then he says, no, it highlights the stupidity and lack of emotional control of Portnoy and Olbermann. It highlights how social media has ruined public discourse and baits people into dismissing common sense and restraint. If Twitter had existed in 1997, I'm sure I would have called Fuzzy Zoller a piece of poop or an effing idiot. Luckily, I had editors and I wrote a rational column explaining the obvious animus, jealousy, and bigotry motivating Zoller's comments. Most people in mainstream media rebuked Zoller in 1997. That's not the case with Angel Reese in 2023. Why would they rebuke her? Because what Angel Reese did and what this Zoller character did are two different things. That's why I said it's a failed comparison. It's a false comparison. He said most of the corporate media are afraid to criticize Reese She's black. Everyone fears the race card. Y'all decide. You're right, Nubian. Jason is a lost cause. It says ESPN Ryan Clark's preemptively played the card via Twitter. Is if he praised Caitlin Clark as competitive, fiery, and passionate for doing the "You Can't See Me" celebration and are criticizing Angel Reese for the same we already know. And he says, what do we actually know? See, now he's trying to play dumb. We know that Caitlin Clark briefly waved her hand in front of her face in the Elite Eight game against Louisville. The gesture wasn't directed at any particular player. Are you sure about that? It says Clark claims it was directed at an Iowa assistant coach. We know that Clark plays with a bravado, a style, and an air of cockiness that mirrors Golden State Warriors guard Steph Curry. Again, the Steph Curry comparison came right back up. Clark is a bit of a hot dog. We know hot dogs are annoying, not classless. And you know what? It's interesting that you brought up hot dogs as a reference, Jason Whitlock, because we probably know what you do with your hot dogs. I'm just saying. Interesting, he brought up food as a reference point. We know what you probably do with your glizzies. He says, I'm not really a fan of either. I couldn't tell by the way he's writing this article and kind of praising Caitlin Clark, but okay. He said, but one is worse than the other. What Reese did was classless. Now, isn't that a contradiction? I'm not really a fan of either, but one is worse than the other. What Reese did was classless. What? It says Reese reminds me of college football stars Johnny Manziel and Baker Mayfield. The two Heisman Trophy winners were widely criticized for their on-field antics. No one called the criticism racist because Manziel and Mayfield are white. In America, it's appropriate to criticize the poor behavior of white people. We rationalize and sometimes even celebrate the poor behavior of black people. Remember, this is a guy who has gotten on platforms where he has talked bad about black women. This guy does not like, he doesn't like black people, but he hates black women. I think that's the best way to frame it. Jason Whitlock does not like black people, but he hates black women. Let's just get that out the way right here. That's why he's talking the way that he is. This man has always had an innate disdain towards black women. And I'm sure there are black women out there have never looked this man's way. That's really all it is. He says we rationalize and celebrate the behavior we desire and expect. We want black girls to handle success in a classless manner. We want young black people to prioritize their skin color above all else. Following Sunday's game, Angel Reese bragged about being ghetto and hood and inspiring other black girls to do the same. She said, I'm too hood, I'm too ghetto. She explained, y'all told me that all year, but when other people do it, y'all don't say nothing. So this is for the girls that look like me. And see, he misinterpreted what she said. When she says, I'm too hood, I'm too ghetto, she's saying that's what people were referring to her as. She wasn't saying that she was too hood or she was too ghetto. She was saying that's what other people were saying about her. But this man doesn't know context clues. Reese sounds as misinformed and bigoted as Fuzzy Zoller. The game of basketball is dominated by black athletes. There's no shortage of basketball role models for black kids. There's a glut. What basketball lacks is a homegrown white American. Oh, here it is. Here it is, y'all. This is it. This is the one. This is the one right here. What basketball lacks is a homegrown white American star who plays with flair and style. Basketball needs a Tiger Woods. Remember, he compared Caitlin Clark to Tiger Woods. Dawn Staley and Angel Reese would rather see the game forego the growth Clark can deliver than see the spotlight on a white star. There it is. There it is. I want y'all to put some explosion emojis in the chat. Put an explosion emoji in the chat, please. There it is. We read all of that just to get to this statement right here. That's what he wanted to say. I'm so glad I'm doing this right now. I'm so glad I'm doing this right now. Jason Whitlock wants the great white hope. And he will throw any black athlete under the bus to make sure that it happens. This actually go again. Remember what I said. This bigger than Angel Reese, because let's keep this in mind. While in this article, in this op-ed that he wrote, he might be targeting and going after Angel Reese and Dawn Staley. But think of all the black athletes that Jason Whitlock has attacked over the years. How he feels about Angel Reese and Dawn Staley is how he feels about Colin Kaepernick, Kyrie Irving, LeBron James, Kevin Durant, Russell Westbrook. He wants a white athlete to eclipse all the black athletes that he has always attacked. And he said it right there in this paragraph. That's what he wants. This man hates black people so much. This man probably doesn't have mirrors in his house. Kobe Bryant as well. This man hates that black people naturally are gifted when it comes to athletics. Granted, not every black person is an athlete, but every black athlete every black person who's who's athletic can be a star in their own right. He hates that Angel Reese is that good. He hates that Dawn Staley is a good coach. So in order for him to attack, he says this. The thing he said, Alan, there you go. See, there you go. Again, what he said right here is how he feels about every, black athlete. Let's continue this. We almost at the end. He said, we've seen all this before. It will be interesting to see if the bigots break Caitlin Clark. And that's the end of the article. And how ironic. He doesn't have a comment section. Y'all, his little blog or whatever does not have a comment section because he knows that people will light him up. He knows this. One last thing I wanted to show y'all, and that's just the word from Angel Reese herself. And that's pretty much the interview that Whitlock was referring to on in his little rag that he wrote.
I'm happy. I mean, all year I was critiqued about who I was. Nobody, I don't, yeah, the narrative, I don't fit the narrative. I don't fit in the box that y'all want me to be in. I'm too hood, I'm too ghetto. Y'all told me that all year.
Now, I didn't mean to stop it, but I want y'all to pay attention to something right here. Whitlock completely misquoted her because he started at the point where she says, I'm too hood, I'm too ghetto. But he completely omitted that first part leading into that, which is why I was able to interpret as that's what people were referring to her as too hood and too ghetto. Let's play this again.
I'm happy. I mean, all year I was critiqued about who I was. Nobody, I don't, yeah, the narrative, I don't fit the narrative. I don't fit in the box that y'all want me to be in. I'm too hood, I'm too ghetto. Y'all told me that all year. But when other people do it, y'all don't say nothing. So this was for the girls that look like me, that's gonna speak up on what they believe in. It's unapologetically you. And that's what I did it for tonight. This was for the more than it was bigger than me tonight. It was bigger than me. Twitter's gonna go in a rage every time. And I mean, I'm happy. I feel like I've grown helped grow women's basketball this year. I'm super happy and excited. So I'm looking forward to celebrating the next season.
And there it is. And Afro said right there, they've been talking about her all season. Of course they have. When you're great, you're gonna have haters. And like Rob has always said, she has embraced villainy. So they really gonna hate her now. I don't know if any of y'all are on Twitter or not, but I immediately follow her. And I'm gonna tell you this right now. She's playing, she's going back and forth with them, but not in a way that y'all think. I watch how she tweets. And when she puts something up, she knows that it's going to trigger people or certain people that have some type, feel some type of way towards her. She knows exactly what she's doing when she puts certain tweets out. Like, I know one tweet that she put out, it said, "I'm a black queen." I said, I can only imagine what people are saying under that post. Or saying, "Oh, I've reached this amount of followers on Instagram," and stuff like that. Your simple post. And she knows that it's going to trigger people. She said it right here. She probably is like, them people are about to bust a blood vessel. Just if I wake up and say good morning, they're going to be like, it's not morning, it's technically still night. But like I said, she pretty much now is a marked person because of this. They gonna criticize every little thing that she does. This woman could find a cure for cancer and they be like, that's not it. This is it. That water is not hot. It's cold. But on the temperature on the thermometer, it says 80. I said that it's cold. I know where I'm exaggerating it, but let's be real here. But like I said, this young woman is from Baltimore. If y'all don't know how Baltimore people are, this is just a taste right here. Trust, there are ones out there that are way more cold-blooded, or as Rob would say, embraced villainy than she has.